Good evening, this is your host, Indira Mendez, on the NETERAL radio show, where bronze women come together in peace, harmony, and respect. It is a platform for us to come together in unity in order to encourage holistic and sufficient discussions. It is also a gesture of empowerment and upliftment for all bronze women worldwide on the NETERAL radio show. So today's date is January 22nd, 2019 on a Tuesday evening, and tonight's hot topic is going to be about vaginal steaming or not. The time right now is 10 p.m. and this is a 45 to 60 minute audio recording, so you all can stay tuned. So a brief overview of last week's topic. It was about vaginal education part 1. We will be following up with vaginal education part 2 next week. So last week we talked about what are some of the techniques for vaginal cleaning and how does the vaginal cycle function and how to maintain vaginal care. What are some of the challenges that older women face? So once again, tonight's topic is about vaginal steaming or not. So I want to talk about the whole purpose of vaginal steaming and what is the purpose of vaginal steaming. And some women do it because they want to do like a vaginal detox. Okay, vaginal detox basically consists of good blood flow, circulation, things of that nature, and then being able to just have that sense of refreshment and liveliness. So this is what some women associate vaginal detoxing with, per se. Another thing would be that it improves fertility process within women. That's one of the reasons why some women do vaginal steaming, and it is also a healing reproductive system. Whereas if you had like vaginal birth or anything of that nature, it helps with the healing process, even with ovarian cysts or any uterus weakness that you may have. So vaginal steaming, women do it for different reasons. They also use it for regulation of the menstrual flow, such as if you have any irregularities in your menstrual cycle. Some women resort to actually doing that to balance out their hormones and things of that nature, to have a regular menstruation flow. Okay, so now moving along to the pros and cons of vaginal steaming. And what are some of the pros and cons of vaginal steaming? And of course, I wanted to talk about all the pros before actually talking about the cons, because I feel as though vaginal steaming have more benefits than the actual cons of it. So I wanted to start off by saying that it relieves symptoms of menopause for well-seasoned women, or women that are up in age. Sometimes that can be therapeutic for you if you choose to do like a vaginal steaming and you get the herbs that are actually for you. I will give a listing of the type of herbs to actually use towards the ending of the show, so that way if you're interested, you can either purchase them or try it, research more about it and look into getting the equipment that you need. It also helps with tone and healing the vagina after birth, as I said before. And the herbs that you use for the vaginal steaming, to increase your circulation, and it thins out any form of mucus that you have, and it also allows certain dead membranes, like dead cells that are built up, to be released when you are actually doing vaginal steaming. So this is the benefits of vaginal steaming in particular. You can also maintain the vaginal health and odor, so that's something to think about as well too. It doesn't affect your pH level within your vagina or anything like that. It actually balances out everything and is more of a refreshing feeling, more than any type of irritation that you might feel per se, and it has a lot to do with how you execute it and how careful you are during the process of setting up the vaginal steaming and things like that, and doing the right things accordingly. So everything will be fine if you know what it is that you're actually doing. So this is really recommended for those who have an interest in home remedies. This is not necessarily for people that have medical issues. I won't recommend this for people. I would say that it's best to speak with your doctor regarding any of this form of vaginal steaming or anything like that in particular. Okay, but like I said, these are for women that have an interest in home remedies. Okay, when I research more about vaginal steaming, it's been around for many years, and this is something that women used to practice back in the days. Okay, now some of the cons would be if your vagina is not in a healthy condition, meaning you have odor, you have yeast infection, or you have any vaginosis or anything like that in particular where, you know, it's irritable down there in that area. Vaginal steaming would not be something for you to actually do. You have to medically treat the vaginal area accordingly. Okay, especially if you have a yeast infection, it might increase the vaginal infection if you try that in the vagina when it's not in good health. Because remember, yeast thrives off a warm and moist area, so vaginal steaming would not be recommended for that in particular. Also, using certain herbs that are really potent may cause allergic reaction in the vagina area. So you want to be careful, extremely careful. That's why I said I don't recommend it for those who have, doctors or trying to medically treat a certain symptom that you have. I won't recommend that. So I'm just saying that upon researching about vaginal steaming, you may want to use something very simple if you are going to consider it, and really research more about the herbs that will be useful and not cause an allergic reaction in that area, because that's the worst feeling to ever have when you have a reaction, because of the herbs that you are using in your vagina area. Okay, especially another cons would be if you're not careful, it may cause the vagina to get burnt, meaning whatever steam or whatever it is might be too severe, and you might it might cause a little like shafting or burning, a burning sensation, and it can be very irritable. So you have to be extremely careful, especially if depending on the type of measures that you're taking to do the whole process. Depending on what you're doing and you're using a hot material, you can also burn yourself through touching, having contact with that hot thing, that pot or whatever it is in particular. So you want to be mindful of everything that you are doing when you take that route in vaginal steaming. Another thing is that when you do that, it may remove natural oils and the lubrication from the vagina. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind and be mindful of when you are looking into doing vaginal steaming per se. Okay, so with that being said, we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. So now I'm going to basically talk about some of the things that you can actually purchase if you have an interest in vaginal steaming. So one of the things that you can actually do to look into is purchasing a vaginal steam chair. Depending on the price and depending on the setup, if it's an installation that you have to take or set up in your home, that can run anywhere from $300 and up if it's an actual installation in your home. But if you don't want to take those measures and you don't want to do that in particular, there's always alternatives to actually vaginal steaming, where there is a thing called basins, and there are seatings that you can actually have and purchase that are a little less like somewhere anywhere behind, I would say $80 and up to actually purchase that. So you can look into that. And then for those who are actually on a tight budget or whatever the case might be, but you still have an interest in doing that, one of the things that's recommended or you can use is a taller toilet seat. And you can do that by installing it on your toilet and just using a pot that has 2 handles, and then being able to do the whole vaginal steaming process from there. But you might have to use a towel to protect against the actual pot when you put it inside of the toilet in itself. Okay, so a toilet seat will run anywhere from $50 to actually $80 the most, or I would say the least, and it's something that you can actually look into if you are on a budget and you still have an interest in vaginal steaming. Another thing in terms of the herbs that you can actually use for steaming, something called mugwort, another thing called wormwood, and another one is chamomile and calendula, basil, and oregano. Or you can use the actual herbs from Yoni Steaming Herbs, which is also a Yoni Steaming Spa that is online. Something that you can schedule to go to. It's like a little spa, and it's called Yoni Day Spa, and it's ran by someone named Ashley Asatu. If you have an interest in purchasing the herbs that they have, you can always go on her website, which is www.ashleyasatu.com, and you can see some types of herbs that she had that's already packaged. Okay, moving along to the steps for vaginal steaming. I know that this is a short broadcast. I know I said it would be 45 to 60 minutes, but because it's a recording, it's going to run at least 30 minutes or so. Okay, so the steps for vaginal steaming, the first thing that you have to do is, inside of a pot, you have to add water up to 4 cups. And then you add whatever herbs that you have that is of your choice to the pot. Okay, so once you do that, you have to allow the herbs to be absorbed inside of the pot. Okay, and then after, you remove the pot from the stove, holding the handles securely, and place it underneath a chair or inside of a toilet that has a towel installation or seat for steaming. Okay, then you remove the clothing from the waist on down, and then depending on the setup or how you chose to do your vaginal steaming, it could just be you standing over an actual chair, so you may be standing up, you may be sitting, or you can actually squat under a seat or a basin. Okay, so once you are seated or in a relaxed position, you have to definitely wrap a large towel around your waist and legs to prevent the steam from exiting. So that's the only reason why they use the towel. It was recommended to use a large towel so it can go around you in the actual seating that you are on. Okay, so if you're wondering how long is the process, the steaming process usually lasts 20 to actually 60 minutes depending on how hot the water is. Okay, so with that being said, after all that, even though it's just a brief overview of vaginal steaming, the question is, should we vaginal steam or should we not? But what I would say is, to each its own. You do what is for you, but you also have to pay attention to your body most of all. That's the most important thing as a woman or young lady. Pay attention to your body. Your body knows what it needs, from down to the things that you need to eat, from how you need to take care of it. All of those things, your body lets you know what you need. You would know yourself better than anybody else can actually know yourself. You know when you are sick, when you need to go to a doctor. You know when your body is not, something is not right or whatever. You know it as a woman just based off of her intuition that we have. So I would say to get more in tune with you, your body, mostly your mind and your soul as well, to get it all in alignment and see if this is for you. If it is for you, something that you want to journey on and doing, by all means, I will recommend it and do it. If you ask me if I'll ever try it, definitely I would try it, because I know that I'm in a healthy condition in that area, that vaginal regional area. So I would try it just to have that refreshing feeling, to go to a spa and just do that and just relax. So I think it's more of a peaceful setting, and it's refreshing. It maintains the odor, the health. Like I said, it doesn't change your pH level in any kind of way. So these are the things to actually consider and keep in mind when you are going about these things. And don't just go for what I say. Do your own research and see if it's something that you really want to look into and to actually do. Okay, so with that being said, I thank you for listening to the NETERAL radio show. And next week, please listen to our vaginal education show. This topic is going to be about, more or less, we're going to be talking about cervical cancer. We're going to talk about fibroids, vaginal yeast or vaginosis, and we're also going to talk about menopause on next week's show. So I recommend, those who listen to NETERAL show to listen on next week, and I will be co-hosting with another young lady that will be on the show. So once again, thank you for listening to the NETERAL radio show.